welcome everybody, and thank you for being here. You are at Ignite Humanity Live, and I'm your host, Lady JB, and it's a delight to be here because today we're talking about ways to ignite humanity. Well, we talk about it every day, Monday through Friday. We're here every morning at 11 a.m. Eastern to talk about how can we ignite humanity, and each and every one of us has a goal and an aspiration and a responsibility to be devoted to igniting humanity in ways that are going to benefit all of us moving forward in the future. And so I lovingly have this show every day because I want to bring to you fabulous guests that are going to inspire you to move the needle in your life and do something that's going to make a difference for you, which is ultimately going to make a difference for others. There's this wonderful idea of a ripple effect, and how you show up and how you lead gives people permission to do the same. And so it starts with self. And today we're going to be talking about how you think and how you create and how you manifest and the things that you can do to actually move the needle in your life, and therefore making it possible for those people around you. It's going to be a powerful show because I have amazing guests that show up and talk about what they're doing to ignite humanity. But it all started with that ignite moment. There was something in their lives that pushed them forward, that made them feel inspired, that moved the needle for them. And they decided, maybe it was through a trial or a tribulation or a difficult moment, but they chose to be the hero in their story, and they chose to do something that was going to benefit themselves and ultimately benefit others. So if you're feeling ready to ignite your life, well, you are in the right place. And if you want to make an impact in humanity, we love having you here. So buckle up. We're going to have some fun. Let me introduce my guest because we have a lot to talk about. An incredible individual. David Ibarra is a leadership consultant, speaker, and author from Salt Lake City. At 28 years old, he started his first business, beginning an entrepreneurial career that spans the hospitality, automotive, and leadership consulting industries. He is the founder of the E-Leader Tech, IBG, David Ibarra Enterprises, and the Think and Grow Rich Institute in Latin America. He's a very dear friend. I've been so blessed to do a movie, co-author a movie with him, not author, co-create, co-cast, is that what you want to call it? And he's going to be talking about his new book and some wonderful experiences and opportunities that are unfolding for him. It's a joy to have him. David, welcome to the show.
Well, thank you very much for inviting me.
Well, it's a blessing to have you because what I love is different voices and different perspectives and different ideas, so that every single person on the planet feels like it's possible for them, that they can do it, that they can achieve it, that they can get through. And you have done a lot in your life. You've accomplished a great deal, and you've really been influential for a lot of people in the industry and in your culture and in your demographic. Can you share a little bit about why you decided to be the leader that you are today? Because I think a lot of people would wonder, what was the precipice? What was the instigator? What made him do that?
Well, I think it started off with a beginning in a very untraditional childhood. You know, my father's from Oaxaca, Mexico, came to the United States of America to work in the fields in a program that bring workers from Mexico in to replace young men that were off to war in the 1945, 50-ish. And the program continued. And my dad was a migrant worker from Oaxaca. He married a woman, my mother, from Salt Lake City. Two different backgrounds, two different shades of skin. And in that time period, that was a no-no in Salt Lake City. And the inevitable occurred. They got divorced. My mother couldn't handle the responsibility of raising my brother and I, so turned us over to Utah foster care. I was one, my brother was two, and stayed there until I was 14, and then joined my father. I learned early how it felt to be on the outside looking in. And there's one or two things you can do, as you know, is accept it or try to figure it out. Is that the way God intended it to be? And I believe that everybody should have a place at the table and a setting at the table. And from my earliest thoughts, I was figuring out how is it that I was going to overcome? How is it I was going to make change? And the things that I learned, I decided that it was my mission to share that with everyone, that everybody needs to feel and look at life through the prism of a positive state of mind, rather than the prism of a negative state of mind that that validates you can't, and the other validates you can. And so that's the work I'm in.
Such a beautiful story, because I think there are many people watching and listening who could say, my parents were divorced. I grew up in a mixed family. I didn't feel like I fit in. Maybe I went through foster care or an opportunity where my family wasn't around me. There are so many individuals who've had a similar circumstances. You've had many, they maybe just had one. But what I love about your story is you took all of those circumstances and you used them in a way that has benefited you and then ultimately benefited others. I mean, I've seen the work that you've done. I've listened to many things that you're a part of, and you really care about other people. You really care about the well-being of others. Was there something that was taught to you to feel that way? Was that ingrained in you? Did you see that? How can we instill that in other people, that desire to help others?
Well, I will tell you is that for sure, nobody gets to a level of success by themselves. Nobody has all the skills, talents alone to achieve what they want. I happen to be fortunate at 18 years old. I was a very talented football player, American football, and I was headed for a college and for certain a scholarship. And then I got hurt with a knee operation, and then a second one, and that was gone. And I was ill prepared. I hadn't paid attention in school. I was not a good student, and I had to ask myself, why did this happen for me? And I got
Mm.
early on. I used to always say, why did this happen to me? And then I learned nothing happens to you; it happens for you if you're willing to look for the equivalent or equal benefit of whatever occurred. And so, in my case, I thought this was a disaster. I went off and decided to go to a junior college, a community college in Sacramento, California. I was studying hard and I didn't have enough money to pay my rent. I was on my own. And I got a job as a dishwasher at a Farrell's ice cream parlor restaurant. And I thought that would be the most insignificant thing in my life. And as it turned out, it was the most significant thing that ever happened to me in my entire life. I met the owner, Bob Farrell. He told me that he was going to introduce me to somebody I had not met yet. And it was the other me, the one
Oh,
that
wow.
believed. And I looked at him like, okay, I thought he was a little weird. But he said that he saw something in me and that he would be willing to be my mentor. He owned 25 restaurants. He came to Sacramento every 2 months. He said if I would read this book, and he handed me a book, it was Think and Grow Rich, 3 times, and highlight the things I didn't understand or I'd like to discuss, that he would become my personal mentor and help me achieve whatever it is I wanted in life. I read the book. He became my mentor, and I went from dishwasher to restaurant owner 10 years later through the guidance and mentoring of Mr. Farrell. And he remained my mentor until he passed. And for that, he told me when I achieved what I wanted, and that was to get my own business, he would ask me for payment. And I asked him, well, what would the payment be? And he says, I can't tell you until you achieve it. So the day I bought the franchise, became the youngest franchise owner with Farrell's Ice Cream Parlor Restaurants, which was a division of Marriott, he told me what it was. He said, now you owe me. And I thought I had just spent all my money getting it. I don't have any left, but certainly a debt is a debt. Tell me, sir, what it is I owe you, and I'll gladly pay. And he told me that I had to carve out one evening of the week and give what I learned to others at no cost, with no gain. And he called it time tithing. So I've been time tithing and helping others achieve the things that I have achieved by studying and becoming a disciple of Dr. Hill's work, released in Think and Grow Rich. And I've written my own book based on those principles, Stop Drifting, and just finished a book, Live Ready, beyond Think and Grow Rich that modernizes the principles, reorders them, and I explained them in my voice and in a more modern way.
I'm so excited for your new book because I'm a big proponent of the Think and Grow Rich principles. I love the teachings of Napoleon Hill, but I also love what you just said, time tithing. Folks, we always talk about ways that we can ignite humanity. We talk about ways that it doesn't cost anything. We talk about ways that this show could literally end. You could get up from where you're sitting and go and do it. And time tithing is a huge one. I just want you to awaken, because Tuesday is all about awakening, to the fact that you have the ability with no cost, but with big results, to time tithe and support someone else. David, such a beautiful story. Let me ask you again, when he told you that was your dad, what was your first thoughts?
Well, the first thought was it fit perfectly into my life purpose. I, in my 30s, later grew that. And I knew that I was here. My purpose on earth was to experience the things that I had, to overcome adversity by simply viewing it as an adjustment period. It's not a failure, it's not a defeat, it's simply an opportunity to gain experience and wisdom. And from that grew my life purpose is to work with employed adults that wake up on Mondays and many go to jobs they don't like, slowly suffocating in unhappiness, committing spiritual suicide, and that I am here to intervene, help them gain control of their thought when at work so they can be a better parent, a better partner, a better neighbor. And we can change one neighborhood at one household, one neighborhood at a time, 2 or 3 neighborhoods, a city, 3 or 4 cities, a state. And I think that there's so much negative right now in this world that if we don't do things like you're doing and that I'm doing, as far as helping people understand the one gift that God gave all of us was the power of our thought, that we control whether it is positive or whether it's negative. And I choose to live my life motivated from joy emotions and not fear emotions.
Folks, if you are listening, it's a very good point, because you may feel like you're going to work and you may feel like you're, enduring something you absolutely don't want to do. And if that be the case, exactly what David said is something that you can do very quickly, very easily, to make sure that you shift the needle right now. David, I know you probably agree with me. It was the way it was up until now, but today I can use my thoughts to change it going forward. It doesn't have to be long and drawn out. It can be literally a decision that we make right now. So much about what Napoleon Hill speaks about is choice. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Well, when I get folks that come in and talk to me, whether it's on the business side, which we're in the performance improvement and consulting, we spend time with a lot of companies, or the individual side on time tithing, or if it's given a speech at a university that I love talking to students, I talk about that until you are able to handle the pivot to a positive state of mind, you'll never be able to find purpose. And once you find purpose, then everything begins. And third, identify what your talent is, what your talent is not, and understand nobody has all the talents to achieve what they want on their own. So it's about developing a specialized talent team. And then nothing happens until an action is put into motion, followed by another one and another one and another one, with the faith that those actions will get you to where you want to go, your desired end result. And then developing a readiness mindset where every morning you do a 10-minute exercise, seeding your subconscious to achieve whatever it is you want. You do those 5 principles and you get the next 10 of what was Napoleon Hill's principles of success. A pleasing personality will be automatic.
Mm-hmm.
Adjustment will, adversity will be viewed as an adjustment. You will look at wanting to take care of yourself and experience the most and have a sound health regimen. And your spending or utilization of time and money becomes easy because you're on target executing the things to get you what you want. And the last principle is cosmic habit form, which I call the promise that everything is a pattern. And bad patterns, bad habits bring penalties. Good patterns bring rewards. And that is the entire lesson that Dr. Hill tried to convey to the world. I'm just wanting to do it simpler.
Yeah, and I love that you put it into those simple terms, because as you were saying them, I was like, yeah, that makes sense. Yes, let's do that. Yeah, let's talk about that some more. Let's read that. Are those the things that you put into the new book?
Those are the 10 chapters.
Wonderful. Fantastic. Tell me I was intrigued with chapter 6, overcoming adversity, or adversity is actually not an obstacle. It's a incentive, an adjustment. Talk a little bit about that, because I think a lot of people are feeling adversity right now. A lot of people are going back to what you said, things are being done to me, things are happening to me. Adversity is the power of adjustment.
Well, when we look at setting your purpose and determining what you want, creating a action path to get there, we get surprised when we come up with an obstacle. Well, an obstacle is simply a mile marker. You can't see everything that's in front of you from point A to point Z. So when you get to a obstacle, an adversity, I get excited. That means I'm getting closer. It is simply an adjustment. And every time I come in front of an adversity, I know I'm gaining experience and I'm gaining wisdom. Experience and wisdom never gets old. It took me a long time to get good at what I'm doing because I had to experience a lot of adversity, but it's just an adjustment. It's just a milestone to your destination. So when you view it that way, you can get excited instead of pushing away. Heck, I'm going to embrace it.
Yeah, because it's come to you for a reason. I really feel like adversity is part of the muscle that you must grow. And also, your unique adversities are there to help you overcome them so they don't become bigger and more. I always say, if you don't get it the first time, the universe will up the ante and make it a little bit bigger the next time, and bigger and bigger. And so any adversity that comes to us is really uniquely designed to help us work through something that we need to grow and gain so that we can be better versions of ourselves. Such a great philosophy. Yeah.
Nothing happens to you. Everything happens for you.
And that shift is so powerful.
And when you're operating out of a positive state of mind, you'll be quick to recognize it. If you're operating out of a negative state of mind, fear, you'll say, woe is me. I knew something was going to happen. And then and like attracts like. So you create your end. If you are in a positive state and learn how to pivot to it, there's nothing you can't overcome.
It's so true. And it's that momentum. Let's talk a little bit about that. We're moving forward. We're creating momentum. We're building energy, because nothing is attracted to the stagnant or the stale or the fearful or the worrisome. There's this velocity and momentum that comes from ideas and innovation and creativity and willingness. I think that you have shown that with so much of your history and your story, this willingness and this desire to just learn and be a good student.
Well, I tell you this is that I came into somebody's office and they had on their screensaver, lead or get out of the way. and they were real proud of that. And they said, what did you think of it? And I said, well, to me, that doesn't make a lot of sense. I think that maybe a better phrase would be know when to lead and know when to follow. Because we should lead whenever we're in our strength, our talent. And we should have picked other strengths and talents to be part of our specialized talent teams. And we should follow when it's their expertise. And life is just so much funner and so much easier when you're working in a specialized talent team in harmony for the pursuit of a purpose.
Yeah, I always have a fun saying. I always ask people, so what's your zone of genius? And they're always a bit taken back by it, but then they go like, well, I really love to, or I'm really good at. And it's so wonderful to listen to what people's zone of genius is, because you're right, you can create this specialized team. And for listeners, your family is your team, your kids are your team, your neighbors are your team, your community, humanity, society, they also work in favor to create a team so that your city works and your schools work and all of those work. David, we have a few more minutes. What I'd love to ask you is there something today about awakening that you feel you could awaken in a listener that maybe has really been struggling for the last little while?
Well, I tell you what, as we go through today's society, and we're hearing in the area of politics, which is our community, and we're seeing programs that are not news programs anymore, but they're spewing hatred. And you have to be the protector of what gets in your head. And a thought can come flying in, and you have to check it. Is it accurate? And not just let hearsay guide you, because your reticular activation system of your brain only will allow in what you believe. Careful what you put in it, because if you don't, we're beginning to become apart and divided as a world, not just a nation, whether it's Canada, whether it's the United States, whether it's Mexico. And this is going to take effort to move us to a positive state of mind society that's inclusive, and that we ought to be able to talk calmly about anything, whether it's religion, whether it's politics, whether it's money. The three things we were told not to ever talk about should be the three things we're always talking about,
Right.
and understanding and growing from.
I think we all, in those areas, we all want to ignite each other to have different opinions and have different beliefs and have unique beliefs, but support everyone in having their dreams come true, having the money and wealth that they need to share with others, having the ability to practice their faith in a way that feels good for them. I think that is part of igniting humanity, is that inclusion and acceptance that you speak about. I'd also like to ask you if you could maybe give somebody one suggestion that they could, when this show is over, they could get up and do that could just start this ball rolling, this momentum happening. Do you have your favorite go-to thing that you like to do every day?
Well, every day when I wake up, I make my bed. That's my first accomplishment, the activity of making my bed. I do 50 push-ups, 50 sit-ups, brush my teeth, I shave, and then while I'm showering, I have a audio that I'm listening to, whether it's Think and Grow Rich, one of my own books, a podcast. I'm going to seed my head with positivity, because once it's seeded, it'll go the rest of the day on its own.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm never going to get up hitting the snooze button, hitting the snooze button. Oh, I got to get up. I want to get up. And then I'm going to read my mission statement out loud with enthusiasm. I'm going to look at my calendar. Who am I meeting with? What are they expecting from me? They're investing their time and their money with me. I ought to deliver. And then 2 hours, find something you can give without getting anything back.
Such an important one. Talk about that for a few more seconds. One of the principles of igniting humanity, I've created 7 principles. The last one is give first and offer all you can, which feeds right into that. You want to give first. You don't have to wait to get, give first. And then you don't have to give everything, but offer all you can. Don't just give a little bit. Don't just be a little crumb. Give all you can, because what you give, the amount that you give, the energy that you give is what you get back. Can you share a little bit about that?
One is that I'm heavily invested in the education of our youth, particularly from the Latino community, which I came from and am a part of. I put 138 kids through college. That's good, but your time tithing is even stronger. 2 hours every day should be giving to somebody without expecting any pay or anything in return. What you'll get is far stronger than that. But when somebody comes through that door and they interrupt me, Mr. Ibarra, and you start wanting to get irritated, remember the courage it took for them to ask, can I ask for your help? Now, I'm not going to give them my help that moment, but I'm going to listen. What is you want? Here, take my book, read it 2 times, bring it back to me. We'll talk. That they do that. Now they're serious. And then they get an hour of my time once a week until we achieve what they want. But move it to a time block that you don't lose your momentum in the things you're responsible to. There's a time block for giving, and absolutely, yes, I will. It's this time on this day.
Wonderful. I love it. Well, I'm going to be on your doorstep getting a copy of your book in a couple of weeks. And I so love what you shared. We're going to put up on the screen below your website and for people to connect with you. David, thank you so much. Lots going on. David is also going to be on the Legacy Lounge. So folks, if you want to come to the Legacy Lounge on Thursdays, and we're talking about legacy, leadership, talking about creating a memorable impact on the planet, David is going to be a part of that also. Thank you so much, sir. I can't wait for us to be in person together again and see you in Salt Lake City. You are a joy and a blessing and a gift to the planet. We honor you so much.
Lady BJ, thank you so much for having me on your program, and I look forward to seeing you and Peter in Salt Lake.
You got it. See you soon. All right, blessings. Well, as you can see, folks, you can do time tithing yourself right away, easily, effectively, efficiently, and you can give a little bit each and every day to people who need it without asking anything in return, because what you give, you get back tenfold. So go ahead and do some time tithing. If you want to watch this video again or this episode, please go to our link, because David gave so many great tips and suggestions. Those 10 rules, if you start living those, big things will start to unfold. You can go to our website and find out more about that. And also you can be a part of a guest on our show. Fill out our type form and tell us what you're up to, how you're igniting humanity and the impact you are making. And we'd love to showcase you. And of course, we're always doing something to ignite literacy. We are building schools in third world countries. We're off to Indonesia at the end of May to build one of our schools there. Looking forward to that. And if you want to be a part of making an impact, every single dollar buys a brick in one of our schools, and we would love to have you donate. All right, blessings and big hugs and kisses to you. We'll see you tomorrow. Take care and have a great ignited day.
Now, more than ever, we need to come together to connect with one another. We need to feel the truth in who we are and let go of everything that's happened in the past. We need to empower every person on the planet and awaken hearts, enliven souls, come together, laugh, play, rejoice, connect, create, and love. It's time to ignite humanity. We want you to be a part of something that will impact the future for everyone. We want you to tell your story, share your Ignite moment, show people who you truly are. Be a part of igniting humanity and making a difference in the world and all of our futures.